All right, so what we got here is a rough turned black cherry bowl, and I am marking center with an awl punch, and I am now putting in my spike drive. A couple of you, asked about it for last week's video, and so there it is. It's the spike drive. I have the 2-inch version that fits in regular 2-inch or 50 mil jaws. Lionel, he makes a 4-inch version too. But that's Lionel Bedard at Greenwood Cut or BellGreenwood.com if you want to look at that spike drive. And I use it up for a lot of live edge turning because it's really good at driving the uneven surfaces. And then I use it to restart a twice turned bowl. It's really easy to just stick it in the middle, get it spinning, and then get a tenon on. So hey, what's up, friends? It's Ray with Docket Timberworks. How y'all doing? So this is almost, I did this bowl at the same time as I did last week's bowl. This one followed it right up afterwards because I was wanting to try out the Acks wood paste products. So, I'm not a big fan of dry wood turning. I much prefer green wood turning. But these dry bowls seem to take a finish better and take the abrasive paste better than wet wood. So here we are. And, I've got a ton of these. I've probably got 50 of these dry twice or once turned bowls waiting to be turned, and I need to get rid of them. Not get rid of them, but, get them done. They've just been sitting there taking up space. And so I'm just running my standard 5/8 bowl gouge. Just got a 50-degree nose angle on it. And, fingernail grind, kind of swept back a little bit. Not huge. It's not like my Ellsworth grind. But it's there. And I'm just, getting it roughed in, getting a lot of the vibration out. That's what I'm doing right there is I'm truing up the rim, which, really ovals and moves vertical at the pith. So there's a lot of unevenness and vibration caused with that there. So when you get that trued up, you can get easier and better finishing cuts, kick the RPMs up a little bit. So now I'm kind of cleaning up the tenon. I originally turned it with a 4-inch tenon. I usually do a lot of 4-inch tenons, especially roughing out green wood and using my woodworm screw. I start typically with the 4-inch jaws because you have a bigger surface and mating area. So sometimes it looks like, once all the bulk's removed, a 2-inch tenon works fine, works just as good, but kind of lets you access the bottom of the bowl a little bit better if you want more of a curve rather than a flat bottom. So that's why I will sometimes swap from a 4-inch to a 2-inch tenon. And then a lot of times what I'll also do is I'll put a shoulder down there in case something messes up. In case something messes up, I can have that shoulder there and can make a tenon out of that shoulder. So I usually turn my tenons with my spindle gouge because it's got a good sharp angle on it, and I can get down into that corner, that junction, easier than with a bowl gouge. It's got this is sharpened at 35 degrees and has a lot of the heel removed, so I can get into some pretty tight areas with it. And then once that tenon is formed, then you can kind of take your curve out to the edge of the rim in one kind of sweeping motion. If you kind of just form the bottom of the bowl without the tenon, then you have to flatten that area off, make the tenon, and then hope everything kind of just goes together right. Plus, I like to, get the tenon on there as fast as I can in case something catastrophic happens and I have to use the tenon to remount it. If the bowl was to come up out of the live centers and I can't put it back where it was for whatever reason, then I can just grab it by the tenon and finish the outside while it's being held with the tenon. And I'm trying to play with my scraper more. So, you know, I did the bulk removal with the bowl gouge, and now I'm kind of removing the tool marks and getting a final contour shape with the scraper. And I opted to leave a little bit of sapwood left in there just for a little bit of contrast in what would normally be a cherry bowl. I don't know. To me, I kind of think it looks cool. A lot of people wouldn't like it and would have just turned away that extra maybe a 1/4 inch and done away with all the sapwood. But I like a little bit of contrast in color sometimes. And then I'm shear scraping with the scraper, and I don't know, I guess I didn't like the finish because here I switched to the bowl gouge and shear scrape again. So sometimes if one tool isn't cutting it, the wood just right, then try something else. And I like that finish a lot better and kept it. And then if you see this, when you see a kind of a still photo of it, when I get some oil on this bowl, my son calls it the Spider-Man bowl, because right as soon as I handed it to him, he's like, it looks like Spider-Man, and he Googled the image of Spidey's mask. So that's what we've been calling this one, is a Spider-Man bowl. And like I said, I love that little spike drive. It's a handy little piece of kit, man. It just fits right in the jaws, and it's a real handy tool to have. I really enjoy using it, and I'm glad I got it. I need to get the 4-inch version, but once I upgrade to a bigger lathe, I'll probably get the 4-inch version, because right now I can only do 14-inch bowls. Well, actually 13-inch, and it handles them just fine. The little 2-inch version does. And then I'm just, you know, truing that up, making sure I got it completely leveled out and flat. And I like to normally put a little bit of an inward taper on my rims. I've tried them kind of, you know, sloping outwards, and they look kind of funny. Maybe on a thicker rimmed bowl it would be fine, but I find an inward taper on the rim looks and feels good, kind of for your thumb to rest on. Okay, and this little move right here, that's the safety cut. That takes that razor sharp edge off that corner. And so if you hit your palm on there, or other part of your body, then it doesn't cut you. I've been cut wide open by those before, and it usually only takes once to change your ways. And now, I kind of picked this up from David Ellsworth, watching his demos from a couple of club videos on YouTube, that he likes to do his shear scraping once the bowl is reversed. He says your supported edge is better, and he was getting cleaner finishes. So that's always just kind of stuck. And then this is a robust tools shear scraping tool rest. It's got most of the material angled away so that you can really dip your handle down low and get a good shear angle for your shear scraping. And some days when I'm editing, I kind of feel like it and I feel good about it, and I'll make an hour-long video on a couple of bowls. But today I was just kind of, I don't know, to me lately shear scraping's kind of been about as tedious as sanding, and I'm not much for keeping it in there. So, you know, we'll speed this up and get through it, and get through the sanding as fast as possible too. Just something about that process kind of drives me crazy, and it's kind of just slow. And so today I'm kind of all over the place. I've never fixed, you know, I didn't realize I had a angle problem until I edited last week's video. So this was still kind of bad. I got this tool rest because it was on closeout from D-Way Tools. It's a little bit long for my type of bowls. It's really good for spindle turning though. It's awesome for spindle turning. But it's a little bit awkward. It's got a lot hanging out, you know, for as far as bowls go, but And I still got the head and the face shield in there, so I'll probably get annoyed with it and fast forward through a bunch of this too. I don't know. Sorry, friends. It is what it is. You know, I'll work this out one of these days and get a perfect video. One day. We'll see. And I never really know how thick I want to go until I start going into it and start removing the material and feeling the bowl. A lot of times I shoot for 3/8. Sometimes I'll go a little bit less, sometimes I'll go a little bit more, but 3/8 is usually a pretty good area that I aim for. It's got a good look, a good feel, but it still has a little bit of heft to it, and people, they seem to like them when they pick them up and they're a little bit on the thicker side, while we as turners like to go as thin as, you know, humanly possible, trying to get 1 mil thickness out of a bowl. I've found people that receive or are looking to buy and handle my stuff at the craft show actually prefer, you know, 3/8 to 5/8 thickness. They kind of, you know, kind of like it. I, on the other hand, you know, go for a lot of, I said 3/8 is a good area. I like a lot of the dry, kind of just classic little serving bowl like this to be 1/4 inch. And you can hear I'm already getting a lot of chatter. You know, once you get down under a 1/2 inch, you usually start getting a lot of chatter out towards the rim. And that's where you can see me with that blue paper towel kind of holding the rim in and reducing its bounce. If you don't, you're going to get a lot of, I call them chatter marks, but they're like deep gouge vibrations from the rim flexing out and your tool bouncing in and out of it and off of it. And if you ever use a chatter tool, it's like a larger version of it, and it's a miserable process to sand out. It's almost a ruined bowl where you actually have to sit there and hold that rim and take another pass and get rid of it, because it's just a miserable sanding proposition. And I don't understand, man. I see a lot of people on videos and from big name turners that are not a big fan of a traditional scraper on the bottom of a bowl. And I personally have the best results. It removes material quickly. The burr stays for a good time, a good amount of time. And it gets a decent enough finish, you know, where I could start at 120 sanding, no problem with it. So I don't, you know, I've tried negative rakes a little bit here and there. Well, I've never bought one. It's a homemade negative rakes. So, you know, there is that. I will admit that. But I'm comfortable with a scraper, a traditional scraper, and cleaning up the bottom of bowls and that transition in the shoulder or the corner too. There it is. And then I try to just get into the habit of removing my tool rest and getting all that stuff out of the way when I go to sanding, because I'm using a power sander, and you know, it just gets in the way, or you could get caught up in there or bump stuff. So I just find it easier to take the tool rest out and just go to town with the sanding. And my normal, you know, repertoire is 120, 180, 240, 320. And from that point, I will either do an abrasive paste, or I'll sanding sealer and then abrasive paste, or I'll call it good and just put, you know, a curing oil on it. It all depends on what I'm feeling like at that time. And so this is, you know, the Acks abrasive pastes first step. That's the tongue oil and beeswax. And it's, you know, basically it's a tongue oil wax emulsion, and its whole purpose is to put the tongue oil into the wood. It's a vessel for, you know, the tung oil, and you can just rub it on, let it sit there for 15 minutes to an hour. You could leave it overnight if you want to, and you'll watch it. You know, the it'll dull over, and that's kind of the wood or the oil soaking into the wood, and then the wax staying on the surface. And then you just simply or buff it off, and that's what I do is I buff it off, and then you go to the abrasive paste step, and then you can go to the polishing step afterwards, which is Carnauba wax. And they're all, you know, you buy it in his premium kit, and it comes with all 3 different pastes, and it's, man, for a nice little utility bowl like this, I don't think there's a better finish out there. It man, it just cleans up really good. It's 100% food safe, no petroleum products, none of that. Well, after 30 days, these harsh chemicals are supposed to go inert type. You know, the whole argument, everything's food safe after 30 days. Well, if your products are just food safe in the beginning, then you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So I like it. It's a great finish. It's a great product. Put a little bit extra on the end grain. That usually tends to really soak it up. And then just like any other oil type finish, you know, your end grain really soaks up your finish like a straw, man, or a sponge. So I usually double coat around the end grain on the inside, outside. Make sure I get that, you know, because that's what you want. You want the tung oil to go in there and be in the wood and cure, you know, so you get that nice, good protective shell once it cures after 30 days of it, you know, tung oil, walnut oil, and linseed oil make almost like a shell once it's fully cured. Do its thing. Now, this part was incredibly frustrating. I don't know what happened, man. I lost my footage. Sometimes my camera, if I mess up and I hit the record button instead of the power on button, it only records for 5 seconds, and then that's it. So I lost the abrasive paste, and then I lost the reversing and the tenon removal. So all you saw right there at the very end was me just putting on a little bit of the polish after the bowl was finished. So, I mean, I don't know, if you've seen a tenon removed, you've seen a tenon removed. It's with the cold jaws, and it's rinse and repeat. It's, you know, you sand it and put the finish on. But there it is. There's the Spider-Man bowl. It came out. It's a beautiful bowl. I'm happy with it. I did a couple little friction burns on it to accent it. It contrasts really well with the light colors, and I was really happy with it. It's a beautiful bowl. My wife really likes it too. There's that Spidey face. All right, friends. Thanks for watching. Sorry about the lost footage. If you could, you know, do the things, man. Give me the like, the thumbs up, hit subscribe, turn on the notification, share to your friends, all that good stuff. And please make sure to leave me some comments down below. I love hearing from y'all and having a conversation with y'all and finding out what you guys think, what you like, what you don't like. All right, friends. Y'all have a good one.